Dude, I love rich people because like their f***ing ideas for fixing societal problems is never through government intervention, which of course would hurt his profit margins, but it's through magical solutions like having rich parents who die and leave you all this money. Okay, let's watch this fucking awful video now that I've been holding on to the entire day.
I think the problem that we've had is that we have people decided they didn't really want to work so much anymore through COVID, and that has had a massive issue on productivity. You know, tradies have definitely pulled back on productivity. You know, they have been paid a lot to do not too much in the last few years, and we need to see that change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50% in my view. We need to see pain in the
unemployment needs to jump 40, 50% in my view. Yeah, how about we start with you, man? Just someone immediately walk up to him and take all of his money, please. I hate this shit so much because people say this about me because like of the things I fucking advocate for, where they're like, oh, eat the rich. Well, how about we start with you, jackass? And it's like, dude, this is the real demon. And guess what? A lot of those people who portray themselves as like kind-hearted and philanthropic individuals that make as much money as he does or even more have the exact same point of view, that you have to suffer, so you shut the fuck up and get back to fucking work. Shut the fuck up and get back to work. Stop complaining. You got too many amenities, and now, because you got too many amenities, now you know your worth a little bit, and we need to fucking hurt you until you forget your worth.
Economy, we need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them, as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change.
For the record, no economist would want 50% unemployment. No, I think he's saying unemployment needs to jump by 50%. So if it's like 2%, it goes up by 1%. You know what I mean? That's what he's saying. But even then, it's like so fucking gross. Which, by the way, I just want you to understand something. Okay? The attitude that he's demonstrating here was first demonstrated and implemented, or, I mean, every neoliberal economist believes what he's saying. They just don't say it out loud usually, unless they're sitting across from fucking like Jon Stewart, who basically draws it out of them. Okay? And, or they're Alan Greenspan and they just say it voluntarily. Okay? And if you find this to be, slimy and cretinous, you're absolutely correct. But you should remember that your boss probably also, if he has enough knowledge on how the economy is supposed to work, also believes this.
We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is what the whole global, the world is trying to do. The governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment.
This is a guy who started the millennials can't afford houses because they buy too much avocado toast meme. Millionaire tells millennials, if you want a house, stop buying avocado toast. Says real estate. Oh my God, he's a real estate mogul. I hate this fucking piece of shit. I hate him so fucking much. I can't say what I genuinely feel about him because I will get banned.
Employment to get that to some sort of normality. And we're seeing it. I think every employer now is seeing it. I mean, there is definitely massive layoffs going off. People might not be talking about it, but people are definitely laying people off, and we're starting to see less arrogance in the employment market, and that has to continue because that will cascade across the cost balance.
What scares me is they actually believe it. They aren't just selfish per se. Well, I mean, technically, if you think capitalism is the best way to operate, if it's the best social, political, economic organization of society, then like, yeah, you agree with this. He's not wrong. Every capitalist should agree with this. It's just that most people who think they love capitalism don't agree with this because they recognize how ghoulish it is. It's the difference between being like, oh, I love the Republican Party, and they would never, like, I love the Republican Party, the abortion stuff is whatever, versus like living in a world where the Republican Party has been able to dismantle abortion protections by way of the Supreme Court. At that certain, like, you're giving the game away at that point. You've given the game away. Everybody knows what you're doing. It just sounds like a business plan for people who are failures in business. So silly. What he is saying I think the average chud hates this shit but loves capitalism, so it's this weird cognitive dissonance. Exactly. Okay? That is precisely the point. That is it. You've nailed it. The entire media ecosystem and every facet of education, every part of your identity that you form through reacting to external stimuli makes sure that the human part of you that fucking has a visceral gut reaction to this fucking demon never puts two and two together. That is capitalist dogma. Okay? You hear this and you go, this is gross. What a fucking piece of shit. And you never realize that what he is saying is the truth. What he's saying is not new. What he's saying is not unique. It is something that many in positions of power have said, including, as I've told you, Alan fucking Greenspan. This is literally neoliberalism 101. Okay? It's just that this dumbass is giving the game away and openly telling you that you have to be brutal. The government must implement the hurt. Okay? Because then you'll know your place as a peasant in society. That's it. This is how it works, though. The cognitive dissonance comes from associating what this guy says with crony capitalism and not capitalism. No, most people can't make that distinction. Most people don't know that distinction. That's for like more educated dumbasses who at least are still trying to work the inherent contradictions that's baked into capitalism. And that's their cop-out solution to that. No, most people don't even think. They just go, oh, this guy, what a demon, what a ghoul. Also, capitalism is awesome, and socialists are fucking bloodthirsty demons. They're the real ones that will do a concentration of power at the top and make sure everyone is poor. Ugh. I wanted to, it's so gross. Yeah, he also actually says the governments are all over are implementing the hurt, or at least private businesses are implementing the hurt with mass layoffs right now. They've taken it upon themselves. Yeah, his fucking five head. Here, let's look at this idiot with another idiotic take.
We are coming into a new reality where first home buyers, second home buyers, and a lot of people won't own a house in their lifetime. That is just the reality of where we're going.
So you think that young people have now got the prospect of never owning a home?
Absolutely, when you're spending $40 a day on smashed avocado and coffees and not working. Of course, absolutely.
Is this guy trying to get killed? Like, is that what he's doing? Oh my God, I take it back. I was going to say, this is what happens. You can run your mouth like this if you live in a country where there's no guns, Australia. But then I realized we live in a country where there are maximum guns, and the only people that get killed are just like innocent civilians in the crossfire. You know what I mean? It's never like a dude like this that gets killed with a gun. It's always like random fucking students at school because some freak decided that like their teacher or their principal or their school or I don't know, the fucking place that they used to work at is the real responsible party, like the fucking Walmart that you used to work at as a manager. You know what I mean? So no, more guns doesn't equal more polite society. Once again, proven. Broy has never seen avocados. $10 for 10. 10 for $10 is Safeway. Hopefully he steps on a snake when walking, when he's bushwalking or some shit.
I had my first business when I was 19. I was in the gym at 6 a.m. in the morning and I finished at 10:30 at night, and I did it 7 days a week. And I did it till I could afford my first home. And you know, there was no discussions around could I go out for breakfast or could I go out for dinner or whatever it was. I just worked.
So what you're saying is you're a bit more driven than some of the people in the current generation?
Look, I wouldn't say that they're not driven. I just think that the media and the current environment and lifestyle changes has definitely changed the next generation. I think it's very dangerous. I think it's dangerous for the economy, and I think it's definitely dangerous for their ambitions of owning property. And I think the problem...
Dangerous for the ambitions of owning property. 35-year-old executive then offered a point of comparison. Okay, what's up? What's happening with this guy? What did he do? How did he make his money? I know he did real estate, but like you don't fucking start off with real estate when you don't have capital. How did he get the first infusion of cash? Like, how rich are his parents is the real question I'm asking here. He looks like racist Megamind. His grandfather gave him $34,000 to kickstart the project, and Mr. Gurner spent 4 weeks renovating the space while getting his gym license by correspondence. Within 6 months, the place was pumping. Melbourne developer Tim Gurner took a punt on a suburban gym and built a property empire. It all started with a lease on a tiny gym in Melbourne, suburb of Elwood. While many Gen Ys are battling, scrape together, deposited their first home, Tim Gurner's making millions. Oh, God, I hate him. I saw an opportunity and took over the lease. I didn't even know what I was doing, to be totally honest, but it was a really good opportunity, a really good spot. His grandfather gave him $34,000 to kickstart the project, and Mr. Gurner spent 4 weeks renovating the place. Yeah. After running the gym for another year, Mr. Gurner offered it for sale to one of his competitors, and then they took it straight away. It was a really good first little business. Armed with a business degree from RMIT, Mr. Gurner did a brief stint with FKP Property Group before going to work for veteran developer Maury Schwartz at Pan Urban, where he worked on several award-winning projects in Melbourne and was promoted to director with a 30% share holding in the company. When financing became tight after the global financial crisis, Mr. Schwartz decided to focus on his publishing business. Mr. Gurner threw everything he had in the Urban Inc., the development company he co-founded with Danny Siama in 2005. In a time of economic turmoil, it was a gamble that paid dividends for property in Melbourne. It was a boom market because everyone moved out of the stock market. Mr. Gurner said, finance was obviously very hard, but we were selling apartments really, really well. Finance turning away from big developments towards boutique, high-end projects would prove to be a winning move. After splitting with Mr. Siama, Mr. Gurner founded his eponymous brand in 2013, and from there, it's been a crazy ride. Company now has 5,000 apartments on the go, worth a combined $2.7 billion, capitalizing on the demographic shift that has seen increasing numbers of families and young professionals wanting to live close to the city. Many of them priced out of buying a house. The focus is on in-demand suburbs in Melbourne and Brisbane. Doesn't matter if he earned it legitimately or not. What matters is his class position and class violence he wages. No, dude. I know that. I know that it's not just... What? You were mentioned? Oh. At Betelgeuse. I thought, video of this guy when he was younger.
I've been asking if I've been lifting heaps lately. I don't know how to tell you guys this. I've never stopped. I would never stop lifting heaps. Heaps are my life. They are the reason that I wake up and eat brekkie every day, and the reason I just eat absolutely massive truckfuls of kilos of chicken breast anytime I can. So if you're wondering if I'm still lifting, know that I wouldn't be alive if I wasn't lifting, mates. Because lifting is life. They're the same thing. So, people.
Why don't you eat brekkie? I'm doing intermittent fasting, mate. These people have totally fucked the Aussie housing market. It's impossible to buy anywhere reasonable without entering crazy debt. And anywhere you can buy is a dog shit apartment in a building that falls apart in 10 years. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, it says he spent $34,000 renovating a place. Where did he get that first place? It just says he took it over. Where did he get that capital, the first capital? Yeah, it didn't answer my fucking... It didn't actually answer my question. Like, how did he take over a lease with $34,000? His grandfather gave him $34,000 to kickstart the project. Probably nepotism via the actual money, but also connections. The owner was in bankruptcy court, more than likely. How did he buy a gym business for $34,000? Banks won't let you take a mortgage if you're just given $34,000. There's that too. But I guess he had a cosign. He probably put his grandparents or his dad as like a co-owner on the lease so he could actually get it. There's 0% chance that like with $34,000 as a loan, a bank is going to be like, yeah, sure, take over this fucking property. What? New NY breaking? Rich Lister said employees should remember they work for their boss, not the other way around. We need to see pain in the economy, Gurner said at the Australian Financial Review's Property Summit on Tuesday. We need to remind people that they work for the employer and not the other way around. A 50% increase from the current unemployment rate of 3.7% to 5.6% will see 275,000 Australians lose their jobs. Tim Gurner, the 40-year-old CEO of Gurner Group, said the COVID pandemic has changed the attitude of many of the jobs. We need to see pain in the economy. I don't know. I hate this. I fucking hate this. I hate this so much. Megaphonics, shut the fuck up. I know who won the puzzle, okay? It's Morgan. We talked about it earlier. Tradies have certainly reduced productivity. They've paid a lot in recent years not to do much, and we need to see that change. Why is it not explaining how he fucking made his money? Millennials should stop wasting money on avocado if they want to buy a house. His comment sparked outrage among Generation Y, with many claiming that Mr. Gurner was only successful because his grandfather lent him $34,000 for his first investment. The multimillionaire hit back, claiming it was wrong that he was given help to get into the property market. His first investment property was a flat his boss bought for $180,000 in Melbourne, St. Kilda. He said he was offered to do renovation work while his boss doled out the money. I spent every night on my hands and knees sacking back the floors, painting, renovating, and working on the house. When we sold it, I used a small $12,000 profit to buy my next property. How? How did he fucking buy a property for $12,000? He said he used $12,000 plus a $34,000 loan from his grandfather to borrow $150,000 to buy a gym. There's no way they're giving this fucking brokey with $12,000 and then another extra 34 that is not even his own money, that he scrounged up a down payment, a fucking $150,000 loan to buy a gym. Okay? $180K property, 5% down, easy then with $12K. No shot. No. He probably put his fucking granddad or his dad as a co-signer on the property. There's no fucking shot. At the age of 19, guys, I bought a fucking house. I know what it takes to be able to purchase anything, okay? With help from a bank. I have a mortgage. You are fucking out of your mind. Also, even if he did work super hard, I just want you to understand. You might have to buy an investment property first. You might have to share with mom and dad. You might have to buy with a friend, but you got to get your foot in the door and you got to slowly get up the ladder, he said. Anyway, regardless, for the record, the amount of money as a down payment is sound, okay? Please, the amount of down payment is sound for a $150,000 loan, okay? That's not what I'm disputing here. What I'm disputing is that if you want to get a loan, you have to have salary requirements. You have to be able to show that you have the capability to pay back that loan. Banks are not going to be like, oh, you fucking found $40,000. That's sick. Here, let me give you $150,000. It doesn't fucking work that way. That's insane. At the age of 19, nobody is getting a $150,000 loan because they got like cash. If his grandfather had what kind of credit does he have at the age of 19? Okay. If his grandfather had $34,000 lying around, then he probably was able to put him on the cosign from a CEO magazine. Give a $140,000 loan with cosign to buy out the gym and then another $34,000 to renovate it. He wasn't paying rent at the time, living with family and taken care of until it was off the ground. So basically set up, not possibly fail. Lovely. His income up to this point is ostensibly $12,000. Yeah. Anyway, he probably did little work and had friends who knew what they were doing, really most of it, to fix everything he fucked up. The dosh for his first investment property was actually fronted by his fucking employer, who essentially spotted Gurner a cool $180,000. And it was Gurner himself who volunteered this information. Okay, one thing I need to mention here. Even if he wasn't getting help from his granddaddy or he lucked out with his employer, even if he literally scrounged up every fucking dollar that he made working at the kangaroo boxing facility or whatever the fuck people do in Australia. I don't know, like the stingray kissing factory, okay? Whatever, just the jobs that you have in Australia. I don't know, it's a fake country, okay? Whatever he was doing, it still doesn't change the reality that he was able to luck in to a situation where his investments didn't fucking fail, and he's able to keep building on top of that, and more importantly, that he made all of his money and his majority of wealth through shutting off access, or at least you know, taking advantage of a market failure by being the sole owner of a necessary for survival commodity, housing, okay? It's still ultimately parasitic. Like, he's just a gigantic fucking piece of shit, okay? That's the issue that I have with real estate in general. Like, looking into his background shows that he also was very fortunate and did not have the same hangups that many people experience. You know, issues with health or not being born into a family where there's 34 grand lying around, not being able to work for a boss that's just like, yeah, sure, I'll front the $180,000 into this property for you that you can just take over. Okay. It's just very, very, very frustrating that this guy has made his $500 million of fortune specifically off of the real estate market and openly talks about, like, basically openly flexes that, like, what he did, you can't even do, and you won't even be able to actually get a home for yourself at all, okay? Because of guys like him, directly because of that. But actually, the real problem is avocado toast.
The problem with this generation is they want the 3-bedroom home in Melbourne and Melbourne East and Prahran and Alexandria and Sydney, and it's just not sustainable or realistic.
So what you're saying is our big cities, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane to a certain extent, are almost becoming like European cities where people may rent for...
Most people can't save $12K and invest it all, let's be real. Yeah, that too. I mean, obviously. And there is no avocado toast cheat code there.
life simply because they can't afford to buy in those cities.
Oh, absolutely. I think we're almost there now. I mean, I think people are talking about a housing affordability crisis right now. You wait 2 or 3 years when the shock and awe of the last 12 months of no supply, prices are going to jump again and they're going to continue to move. The only thing that gives me a little bit of comfort is the fact that parents have inherited gigantic wealth. The baby boomers have gone and we have created this incredible wealth throughout the baby boomers. Everyone's talking about affordability and housing crises and unaffordability.
Oh, never mind. This guy has a brilliant solution for the current housing crisis, which is your rich parents will die, and then you'll get inheritance that you can buy a house with. Got it. Yeah. Dude, I love rich people because, like, their fucking ideas for fixing societal problems is never through government intervention, which of course would hurt his profit margins, obviously. But it's through magical solutions like, one, having rich parents who fucking die and leave you all this money.
The realistic fact is there is this incredible amount of wealth that has been created and is sitting with the baby boomers that will be passed down. There is going to be a transition of wealth in the next 20 to 30 years, which will see a lot of these people be able to buy their own home. But I think some sort of measure now, some sort of government incentive to encourage parents to be able to pass down money earlier, I think would be a great thing.
I hate this guy. The transfer won't happen in the USA due to healthcare and nursing home costs? Yes. There is a very large sector of, what is it called? Like gerontocratic care or something? Like, there is a growing healthcare sector that is also farming geriatric care, not gerontocratic, sorry. Gerontocracy is what our Congress is. Geriatric care, but it's not just geriatric care. Palliative care, is that I think that's the right word. Palliative care. Yeah, end of life care is what I'm talking about. Just insanely expensive way to just take that supposed wealth transfer that is supposed to happen and directly line up the pockets of another sector and its executives. I know we should be kind to individuals and ruthless to institutions, but I admit I'm hating this guy severely. Yeah, if there was any sort of karmic justice, like, this guy would suffer every single day of his fucking life. But there is no justice.